Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to use this brush. This is a triangle brush, and as you can see, the ferrule is shaped like a triangle, as well as the hairs. And the belly of the brush is quite large for an extra small brush, but it does come to a super sharp tip. So I thought this would be interesting to play with. This was a suggestion by one of you guys, Linda Carrera. Thank you so much for making me think about this brush, which I got a few months ago. Before I used this brush today, I went on YouTube and I researched to see whether I could find any tutorials online on how to use the brush, and all I saw was people using the brush to create beautiful projects, but it wasn't telling me how to hold the brush, how much pressure I should use, which side to use. At some point I'm going to take my overhead camera and put it on my desk so that you can see up close and personal how I actually use the brush. But for now I'm going to show you a couple of things that I have played with. The first brush stroke I want to show you is what I call the poinsettia, or pointed flower, or pointed petal I should say. And I'm just going to load my brush with whatever I have on my palette here. And I'm going to hold my brush with the writing facing downwards towards the paper, and I'm just going to point, and right away I'm going to go diagonal and lift. I'm going to reload my brush, and then I'm going to do the same thing right next to it, point and lift. So you can see that I have the makings of kind of like a poinsettia. I'm maybe a little bit too close to the edge of my paper. And I keep twisting my paper, it's just easier for me. I didn't do this one right because I was on the edge. And as I'm lifting, of course, I'm releasing the pressure. So again, it's lay it down, diagonal, and lift. For the other kind of brush strokes, I'm going to zoom in for this. I'm going to hold my brush this way this time around, and I'm going to put it down, still the top facing me, and I'm going to wiggle as I move it from side to side while going up a little bit and coming back down. Now you probably noticed that I have some sort of a two-tone effect, and I'll show you that in a bit. So I'm going to repeat the same thing. Again, brush tip down, wiggle, a little bit going up to give it that round shape, and I'm also at the same time pressing on that the belly of the brush. Not sure if I have enough paint for the third one, but let's give it a shot. So again, press down, wiggle, and the tip of my brush almost stays in the same position. All right, and then I would join these petals together and then do a stem. Now the beauty of this brush is that you can get thick lines and thick lines, which is pretty awesome. And I know that you can use a dagger or a striper brush to do that, but if you're working with one brush and you can do all these brush strokes, that's pretty amazing. So let me show you how thin the lines can be. They're not going straight, but I think you know what I mean. And if you want to get thicker ones, then you just press the brush onto your paper where the edge is, and you just go large. You can also do thick and thin. So again, just touching the tip, applying pressure, releasing pressure. When I got this variegated or kind of like ombre effect is when I loaded my brush with some sort of a light color here, and then I dipped it directly into the well of a darker color. Just a tip. And so that way when I do this flower and I wiggle, of course, the belly of my brush is loaded with a light color, but the tip has the dark one. So it's pretty cool. You don't have to apply a lot of pressure, just enough for the bristles to bend. And there you go. So now I'm gonna unhook my camera from above and I'm gonna show you what this looks like from a side view. Okay, so I'm gonna load my brush. I'm gonna use a different color this time around, and I'm going to redo the poinsettia brush stroke. Right, and this time around I loaded my brush the same way I did here, just a different color. So as you can see, this is the top of my brush right here. So I'm going to put it this way so the top is facing me, not the camera obviously. And then I'm going to put the tip down, everything, slide to the left, and whoops, and lift. I missed this one. Let me redo this. I'm going to turn my paper because it's easier for me. So tip, slide, and lift. Once again, tip, slide, and lift. See if I can get another petal out of this. Tip, slide, sideways, and lift. Now I want to show you the ginkgo leaves brush strokes. So I'm going to push down, and I have my brush opposite of me. So I'm kind of like looking at the writing here. That's facing me. Again. So tip down, pushing a little bit on the belly, keeping that tip kind of like in the same spot, but wiggling my brush up and down, and then coming back around. Do a third one here. So again, whoops, I'm gonna put my brush down, and then I'm kind of like pressing on the belly as I wiggle my brush around while I come around. And that's it. And to do the thin lines, I hold my brush this way, so it's kind of like the writing is underneath. I can't see it. And this is how I get the thin lines. If you're going this way, you might get a couple of thin lines, but eventually the bristles will split. I don't know if you can see that, but it just splits. So for me, it's easier to use the brush when it's upside down, and then I can just do my thin lines. Now I can also do leaves, and there are many ways to do leaves. You can do them like the poinsettia brush stroke, so down and then elongate a little bit, and then coming around and pressing on the belly and releasing. You can do them short as well, much like the original poinsettia petal. So it's down, sideways, and lift. Or you can do a super long leaf like this. And if you want, you can double that up as well. Alright, so now that you've seen the brush strokes up close and personal, I'm going to do a little painting for you. There's my little painting. It's quite dainty. It's a big departure from what I'm used to doing, but I like this. It kind of goes with me liking doing detail work, or precision work, so it was quite fun. It was a good exercise. Now this brush is an extra small. It also does come in medium size, and I've asked Jeff at the Brush Guys to add the medium size to my teacher's recommendations list, so it should be there in a few days. I know that in the US there's a holiday going on right now. I think this is perfect for a card front. In fact, this paper measures 4.5 by 6, just because I thought these 5 flowers would be lost on a bigger piece of paper. Is this brush essential? Is this a must? Heck no. But it's fun to play with. So if you're looking for something new to play with and practice, then I encourage you to grab one of these. They're not super expensive. Just be prepared to practice a lot. It took me about 3 hours to be kind of comfortable with the brush strokes that I showed you. I'm sure there are other ones, and I will continue to experiment with this brush on and off, so be on the lookout for more. I hope this video has answered some of your questions, those that were looking for information on how to use a triangle brush. I invite you to give it a try, and if you want to share your photos on your social media, make sure that you tag me at Création CC either on Instagram or Facebook. I'd love to see what you come up with. Don't forget to check out the supplies list. You just have to click on Show More underneath the YouTube video, and you'll see all the supplies there. There's also a special discount code for my viewers at thebrushguys.com, where you can get an additional 5% off your entire purchase. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. I want to say a huge thank you to my awesome patrons for supporting my art over at Patreon. Have a super fun and creative day, and I will see you tomorrow.